What's hood, Los Angeles? My name is Johneric Concordia from the Park's Finest, and we're gonna cruise with Justin Foronda of Hi-Fi Kitchen around historic Filipino town. We're here at the Levitt Center of PWC, the Filipino Workers Center, and we're cruising in a world-famous Araujo jeepney. What's up, baby? How are you?
Is it good?
Man, you good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Yeah,
so let's kick it. Let's cruise around with Mang Cesar and talk shop around the block.
Let's do it, man.
All right. One thing about historic Filipino town is we understand that we're not the majority of the population in this neighborhood. And even though statistically we have the most amount of Filipinos in Los Angeles, we definitely understand that a good chunk of them grew up here, settled here, raised their families, eventually moved on into different neighborhoods like Eagle Rock, West Covina, North Hollywood, Cerritos, Long Beach, and Carson. And there's always somebody that was connected here.
Yeah, Hi-Fi is the landing pad for sure. When my family was moving out this way, this is where you would like meet, they would connect you, and then you move on from here, you know?
Yeah, so there's just elements where it wasn't something that you wanted to settle in. The idea was save up money and move to the suburbs, right? But now we realize the convenience, the culture, the history of what this place is. This is the original West Side. This is the beginning. That's First Street. This is Beverly, right? Yeah. On the other side is the East Side, Boyle Heights. Yeah. And this is a component of Los Angeles's deep history of downtown Los Angeles, historic Filipino town, Echo Park, Rampart District. Yeah. And this is where immigrants from Central America, from Southeast Asia, and all over convened. And this is one of the few places where we were allowed to even live, because we get beat up if we stepped out of bounds. So a lot of the neighborhoods, the gangs that were here, really dealt with racism and protected themselves.
And I grew up here.
Yeah, we'll go straight.
But the thing is, the neighborhood was a little shifty, right, back then. So I would have to go to my parents' work and after school to like do my homework and all that stuff. And I did that, you know, for 8 years up and through high school. And I don't know how to ride a bike. I was never taught how to ride a bike. And I think that was on purpose. I don't think my dad really wanted to teach me, because mobbing out in this neighborhood was not safe, man.
The fact that your parents were protecting you by keeping you close to the hip, yeah, kind of speaks to how rough it was in this neighborhood, but also the fact that you're still trying to connect with this neighborhood by opening up a shop in the block.
See, but the thing is, like, when I was young, it was you guys, your generation, that I looked up to. You know what I mean? Like, that was cool. That culture was cool. The communal part of being in gangs was like cool to me, right? I couldn't go to parties unless I was clicked up with a certain gang, because, oh, don't mess with him because he's this person's homie.
So post riots, I was a kid that the World War II veterans, anti-martial law activists, World War II veterans, teachers, organizers, counselors, drug dealers, and gangsters said, all right, let's identify some kids in the neighborhood who are potentially at-risk youth. They could potentially get into trouble. And if we offer them services, we offer them, you know, leadership training, cultural dancing components, hang out with the Chinese kids, the Latino kids, the Korean kids, the Japanese American kids, give them something to do. Ideally, they won't be members of the neighborhood. So there was a negotiation to say, let these kids just be kids when we were at SIPA. And we were lucky enough to then reinvest and come back to the community and build in the community we grew up in.
Yeah.
Now they recognize that this is a place where it's a hop and a skip from everything and anything, with a character that's very small town. Yeah. But what we want to do is be a part of that small town. We don't want to get moved out. So opening up businesses that offer jobs for people to pay their rent in the neighborhood and stay in the neighborhood is something that small businesses really try to strive for.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is investing it back, right? Investing it back into the neighborhood and making sure that there's a line, there's a connection from LA to the Philippines, and giving people opportunity to enjoy the culture, right? Not just Filipinos that want to eat Filipino food, but everyone else in LA that want to explore Filipino food.
We wanted to be the Shakey's of the block, right? For Echo Park, Little League games and dodgeball tournaments and the old people, the old tennis, Echo Park Tennis Club full of Filipinos. It's something where we always wanted to hold space, and even from an old needs assessment on butcher paper. What do you want? A place to gather, a place that's our own.
Yeah.
Some place to eat, some place to commune. And that was in 1992. So thinking about that and being able to offer that, and then you offering that, I think it's a testament to the dreams and aspirations of our people and how we can push a little bit further along.
If we didn't find a place in the neighborhood, I don't know if I would have opened a restaurant. You know, like that's very much like ingrained in the fabric of the mission, is to bring visibility to the neighborhood. And so, you know, 30 years later, right, of me just, you know, growing up in this neighborhood, I was just like, you know what, like, it's still not visible. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. I just, you know, take it into my own hands.
But part of it too is we weren't trying to be visible. We were trying to blend in. And that's one of some of the dynamics of being Filipino, being a colony of the United States. We weren't trying to showcase being Filipino.
I see that.
During that time, it was difficult and actually a detriment for you to be something different. So in a community that didn't also think about holding on, we moved on. Yeah. So there's no point in us necessarily having something that's decoratively Filipino if Filipinos don't even invest in it.
No, dude, but how does it feel to be like a destination, bro? You're
it's
straight
exciting.
Up.
It's exciting, but also like it hurts when people say nothing special. What we do is historic Filipino, authentic historic Filipino town food. This does not exist outside of this block,
right?
Or it does, but it didn't formulate.
Yeah.
Until it was really formulated in this block.
Yeah.
It's familiar to Filipinos, but something different.
Yeah.
As well as for Americans enjoying something that makes sense to them, but is also new.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that's the thing. Like historic Filipino town, it's not the Philippines.
No, it's not
you
the
know
Philippines.
What I mean? But like we are influenced. The way that we honor being Filipino is taking our influences from our culture and receive the influence from the neighborhoods around us. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You have to.
That's what historic Filipino town is. You know. Our version of Thousand Island. It's called 7K. We call it 7K, 7,000 Island, because there's 7,000 islands in the Philippines. The bread stays protected. And then this is our eggplant patty.
Wow. And I think this neighborhood tries to personify a small town feel in the City of Angels, but know that you're going to be taken care of if you are welcomed here. So, love letter to this block. We love you. We're thankful for you. And we're going to take care of you.
That's our 1,000.
Not 4K, 7K.
No, that's our 1,000 Island, right? There's 7,000 islands in the Philippines. So.
And that is an eggplant tortang talong
burger.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Blam.
Being historic Filipino town, being an extension from the Philippines in Los Angeles. It's really, you know, this is a place to be Filipino American. being Filipino is one thing. Being American is another thing. Being Filipino American, that's another thing. And that's a disposition that one must celebrate. You know what I mean? That's what makes you different. That's what makes you you. And I think High Five, this is a place to embrace that.
Yeah. I mean, we've been very active of making sure that the community is able to access and have use of the park.
Yeah.